All right. Well, thanks for that, Sabrina. Thanks for joining us today. I know we're going to learn a little bit about maybe how you can create some efficiencies, maybe within your day-to-day processes. Maybe you have something that you do every day, all the time. Wouldn't it be nice to maybe save 45 minutes or an hour in that? So I'll show you a couple different ways we can do that. And then if you're a SmartList user, I know SmartLists are pretty basic, comes with GP. And I'm going to show you an alternative to that will also help kind of create some of those efficiencies within just your day-to-day processes. I'm Naomi Olson. I'm our GP channel manager here at eOne Solutions. And I think we're just going to go ahead and get going. I know we are waiting for a couple more, but if you guys have questions, as Sabrina mentioned, certainly submit that via that chat feature and we'll make sure and get those taken care of. Okay, so SmartConnect itself. You can kind of think of it, it is an integration tool, but it isn't just your typical integration tool. You can think of it as your automation migration platform. And talking about the automation portion, that's something that we're going to kind of focus on today, and I'll show you a little bit more as we go throughout our session what I mean by that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at SmartConnect. We're just going to do kind of a high-level example. We're not going to go too in-depth. We're also going to take a look at SmartView, and I want to show you a few different things in terms of some of the differences between SmartView and SmartList. And then we're going to have kind of a fun interactive demo. So I'm going to need your guys' participation and help. So if you want to just go ahead and pay close attention, I'll let you know when that comes. And then we will talk about some additional pricing resources that are available to you as well. Let's go ahead, and this is just a picture of me and some of the teams here at eOne. We have over 20,000 customers since 2001 that are using the eOne tools. So we've been around for quite some time. We've got lots of experience working with GP and some of the other ERPs as well. All right, well, I like to start out with this illustration. I know it looks a little busy, and there's a whole bunch of different icons, but this really gives us a great summary in terms of when we are working with SmartConnect. So SmartConnect itself is going to make integrating, migrating, and generating your data really easy. And with this image, as I stated, it gives just a great summary in terms of really how unique and powerful the tool is and how it allows you to take data from many different data sources to many different destinations where you're going to be able to apply a schedule or a condition to that integration without writing any code. So if we take a look at that very top section, we're talking about things such as like an ODBC connection, maybe it's just Excel or your text file, CSV files. Of course, we're working with GP, Nav, 365, CRM, Salesforce.com. For those of you maybe who own Extender, that's another eOne tool. We can use that one as a data source as well. And another one that we are seeing today is our third-party web services. And that's where you're going to be able to connect to different web service applications that are out in the cloud and have access to grab at that data. So once you have your data source, you're going to have to tell that data, hey, where do I go? And so that's going to be our destination. So if we look at that very bottom section, we're going to be looking at things such as, some of them are very similar. You got your GP, Nav, 365, your Salesforce. Maybe a more common one might be a direct custom SQL Server application. Again, maybe it's just Excel or a text file. And again, a big one we are seeing is our cloud-based web services, where not only are you going to be able to grab at that data, but you're also going to be able to send data to these applications as well. Once you have your data source and you have the destination, there's might be times where you have to transform the data a little bit, and that can be done by a simple calculated field, or if you are a developer and you want to do some more of those complex things, you can do certainly some of that C# or VB.NET scripting as well. We really just have a ton of transformations that are built right into the tool that's going to make this tool work for your specific business needs. Now, if we look at the very last section, this is our trigger section. And you can kind of think of that as, when do you want these processes to run? When do you want the integrations to run? When do you want the automation to run? Maybe you want to just hit a button and manually control it. you certainly can do that. I know with Integration Manager, you really don't have any other option, but we do have a scheduler as well that's built right into SmartConnect that's going to allow you to be able to schedule out those integrations. So you're going to really have control in terms of being able to automate some of those tasks that I talked about. Now, maybe you just want to keep track of some of the changes that have happened, that have occurred. And as you track those changes, that's when you want to schedule it. So you can certainly do that as well. And maybe it is real time and it's critical to your business and it's an action that has to be run through in real time. We can do that as well. So really looking at the summary, you should be able to mix and match any of those data connections. So you can draw a line from any of the data sources at the top to any of those destinations there at the bottom. Now, as we continue on, in regards to automating, we're going to focus a little bit more on that aspect of it. However, before we kind of get into that, I do want to just kind of open it up to see if there's any questions in regards to this illustration that you're seeing. And maybe while you're thinking of some questions, this is the spot where I'm going to need your help a little bit. And I want to show you really how we're going to be able to take the data. So if you want to go to reimagine.eonesolutions.com, there's just a simple web form. It's just got your name, first name, last name, and email address. You can put in any fictitious information. It doesn't really matter. I just want to show you. So we're going to be able to take this data and leverage it into CRM and GP, where we're going to bring together just a fully integrated experience. And I'm going to show you how you can take that data, whether it's from an Excel, text file, or CSV, and how you can automate maybe some of those tasks that you are doing on a repetitive basis. Okay, so I will also do that with you. Let me go ahead and go to reimagine.eonesolutions.com. So you can just go ahead. I'm going to just do Mickey Mouse. Let's just enter in my email. I'm going to do general and submit. So that's been submitted. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull up our image here. And to begin with, I'm just going to go in CRM here, and this is a marketing list. Now, this marketing list was created based upon the data that you entered into that web form. So all the attendees here on this list are going to be the people that submitted that web form. Now, that web form you can kind of think of as you're registering to attend the eOne party. So let's pretend we're all registering to attend just an awesome party, and you just registered for tickets on our site here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to just let's pick on Carolyn here. So the first and last name represents the account name. So if I dig into this just a little bit more, in terms of the relationship, let's go ahead and just put customer. And then if you notice, we have an address field here. Let's just do 123. Let's do Donald Duck. And yes, I am putting you here in lovely Fargo, North Dakota. How lucky are you? I don't know about that, but we can pretend we're lucky to be in Fargo. All right, let's go ahead and save that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to GP. And I'm going to actually go into Smart View. Now, we talked a little bit about Smart View being an alternative to SmartList. So as you can see, this looks pretty similar to your SmartList. Now, a few things that I do want to show you with Smart View that you're not going to get with SmartList. And I'm going to just pull up some of our sales line items so I can briefly show you. So this is what we call kind of our real estate, so to speak. So on your left-hand side, you have your tree view. This is where you're going to be able to access any of those canned lists that you get with GP, plus any of those lists that you created maybe using SmartList Builder, which is another eOne tool. You're going to have access to right through the tree view. If we move over to our right-hand side, this is our columns. So this is where you can easily, if you're wanting to add in some additional fields, you can certainly do that pretty easy. So I just want to show you a little bit here before we move forward I'm going to pull in our sales territory. I'm also going to pull in our sales ID. And then let's also pull in our sale date. So as you notice, I was able to double click on it, or if you want to drag it and drop it, it does have a very nice drag and drop interface. I'm going to go up to our options tab. I'm going to hide our list on the left-hand side, and I'm going to hide our columns on the right-hand side. Well, let's say that I don't want my sales date at the very end. So as I added each of those items, they added at the very end or the very right-hand side of our columns. I'm going to move our sales date over to the beginning. So as you can see, it is a really nice drag and drop interface where you're going to be able to move that data around. Also, another feature that you're not going to get with SmartList is you do have the ability to group and subgroup. So let's say I'm wanting to group by our SOP number, and I want to subgroup by, let's say, our territory. Let's subgroup by our territory. Now, as you can see, not only do you have your totals to your screen, you're not going to get that with SmartList. You've got your totals for each of those columns, but you also have your grand total as well. So if I'm wanting to go ahead and collapse this data, and let's say I only want to see, oh, that's the SOP number. Let's do SOP type. So let's say I only want to see all the invoices for all of the territories. So if you notice here, this is going to give me a really great summary of all of the invoices just for each of those territories. Another nice thing is if you were to right click on any of the headers or footers, you could do like a minimum, a maximum, or even just count the records. Or let's say you don't want the sum, you want the average, you can certainly go ahead and do that. Now, the other thing is once you select and filter out any field, what it does is it creates and opens up this filter ribbon here at the very bottom. Now, this filter ribbon is where you're going to be able to add in unlimited filters. So you could add to your heart's content. If you know, working with SmartList, you only have those 4 filters, which can be really a nuisance, especially, if you're working with a large amount of data, you really need more than 4 filters. So if I go ahead and add our sales date, I just want to show you one of my favorites is we have some predefined date parameters built in. So here's where, let's say I just want to see information from yesterday. You can literally just go ahead and click on that. Not only can you add these filters, but there's so many different conditions that you can add to the filters as well, which makes it very versatile. So you can get things set up the way that you'd like them. All right, let's go ahead and close out of this. Let's say that I have my list exactly how I want it, and I want to save this list. So that way every day I don't have to go back in and set up all of the groupings and subgroupings and filters. If I go up to the star at the very left-hand corner and click on Add, this is where you're going to be able to save it as a favorite. So let's go ahead and save it as Donald Duck. And not only can you save your list, but you're going to be able to specify who has access to see the list. So you can specify a specific role within the organization, or you can even specify a specific user. Or if you do have more than one company, you can certainly define which company this list is associated with. In this case, I'm just going to pick all companies and all users, and I'm going to go ahead and save it. And let's go back and add our list. So as you can see here, the Donald Duck with the little star, what it's done is it kept all of our groupings and subgroupings. Another nice feature is if you are wanting to export to Excel, you certainly have that ability to do so. It's super quick and easy, and it's going to keep everything as you see it here with all the headers and footers as well. All right, and then one other thing that I do want to mention in regards to SmartView itself is going to be if you have SmartList Builder and SmartView, they are independent tools, but combining them is extremely powerful, especially when you're working with your GP data. If you click on the Modify button, what it does is it actually brings you right into the builder. So you're going to be able to make changes and pull in any of those additional fields that you may need to do so right on the fly. All right, looks like maybe internet's not wanting to cooperate too much here. It's not loading. So let's just go ahead and close out of this. Now let's go back over to, why did I do that? Didn't want to do that. All right, let's go back to GP. And I'm going to let's pull up the today's orders. Now, if you recall, what we did is we went into CRM, and under Carolyn, I had entered in the address. So what I want to show you is what SmartConnect did is SmartConnect was working on the background, and what it did is it took that data that was entered in CRM, and it's now something that we're going to be able to see in GP. So I forgot to tell you, there is a fee to attend the party. So these are all the invoices that were created as well when you submitted that data via that web form, when you signed up to join the eOne party. So let's go ahead and double click on this. So yeah, I'm so sorry. It's an awesome party, so it's going to cost $100. Here's the address. So I'm pulling up Carolyn. I went into her customer card. As you can see, the 123 Donald Duck here in Fargo. So that's the address now that we're seeing in GP. Now, it is not just a one-way street. It is a bi-directional integration. So let's go ahead and I want to show you, let's enter a phone number here in GP. And I want to show you that we're going to be able to see this phone number in CRM. So if I go ahead and enter a phone number, let's do 888-867-5309. Jenny, you guys have heard of that, right? All right, let's go ahead and save this. Okay, so if I were to go ahead and go back into CRM, and I'm just going to go ahead and refresh this. So as you can see, the phone number that I entered in GP, we are now going to see here in CRM. So there's that phone number. So that's just one of many different examples in terms of when you're using SmartConnect, what it can do in terms of automating some of those tasks, saving you time. Maybe it's just an hour each day. That definitely can add up. Now, there is another really cool feature about SmartConnect, one that we probably don't highlight nearly enough. And this one seems to be more popular. And a lot of people, they live in Excel. So let's go ahead. I want to show you this one. So this report here itself was actually created using SmartList Builder. We've got the refreshable reports, which is part of the SmartList Builder tool. So if I go up to our data tab and I click on refresh all, what this is doing is this is pulling in all that live data from GP. So here we can see all of those invoices that were created. Now, Mickey Mouse was so very nice and kind. He's going to actually pay for everybody's invoice to attend this party. And it's going to be a really big party. So it's going to cost $5,000. So we're going to go ahead and zero out these invoices. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go up to our eOne Solutions tab, and I'm going to click on the Run Map. And again, what's happening in the background is SmartConnect is taking all this data and it's pushing this into GP. So we should get a successful notification, which we did. Now let's go back into GP here. And I'm just going to go pull up our Smart View list here. Oh, let's go to the home, and I'm just going to click on the refresh all. As you can see now, Mickey Mouse has the invoice for $5,000, and all the other ones are $0. So that's one example too. Maybe you need to make changes to those invoices. I know we actually use something very similar to that internally. So as we receive checks for payments, our accountant is able to enter in that check information through Excel. And what we do is we import that using SmartConnect and push that into GP. And that in itself saves her tons of time without having to go into GP to do that to each individual check received. Now, while we're working in Excel here, there's one other thing that I want to show you. And here is some of, maybe it's just journal entries. Journal entries can be a pain. And this is something I want to show you. We have a ton of templates that are available. Now, these templates, we build and have quality control features that are built right into them. And that way you can make sure that the data that you're taking from these templates and importing into GP is good, valid data. So if you take a look at the currency, if you are working with more than one currency, you can certainly choose which currency that you want to select. Also, depending upon if you have more than one company, you can define which company. I'm going to change this to today's date. So let's go ahead and select the 13th. And if you notice too, if you change the account number, what it does is it changes the account name. And if you change the account name, it changes the account number. And again, that's another quality control feature that's built in. I'm going to go ahead and submit this journal entry, and it's saying it's already been submitted again, which is correct. It's a monthly journal entry. So yes, we do know it's been submitted again, but thanks for telling me. Sometimes that might be important. Now it's telling me that my debits and credits do not match, which if we look here, they don't. So thank goodness that it told me that, because if I were to push all this data into GP, yikes, that would be kind of scary. So let me go ahead and add in my 2 cents, and we're going to go ahead and tie this out. Let's resubmit this, and I'm going to just put in a couple distribution references. Let's do Donald Duck. Let's do DFC as our source document, and go ahead and submit this. It's saying it's already been processed, which we know. Yep, we're going to process this again. And let's go ahead and, okay, we're getting a successful notification. Let's go back into GP. Let's just pull up our most recent journal entry. And as we can see, so we've got our source document DFC, so you know that that's the one we just imported. So 211-808-11, and then our distribution reference, we should see a Donald Duck in here too, right there. So literally with the push of a button, we were able to push in and import all of these journal entries right into GP. So talk about saving time and automating some of those tasks. This is just, like I stated, 1 or 2 that I showed you. Maybe there's other platforms or applications that you guys use internally. Hopefully maybe this has got you thinking a little bit about maybe how you guys can use SmartConnect in terms of being able to create some of those efficiencies. Okay, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more. Let's jump over to some of the differences between SmartList and SmartView. We're going to go back, and I know I showed you a little bit, but we didn't really talk a whole lot about some of those differences. With SmartList, you're only getting just that basic reporting tool. It's slow. You've only got 4 filters. And with SmartView, you're going to get unlimited filters, totals to your screen, easy grouping and subgrouping. Another really cool feature about SmartView, if you have any users outside of GP who need access just to see those lists, you can save a GP license, and literally they can have an icon that's just saved right on their desktop to where they're going to be able to access any list that you've given them access to, granted access to. And then 2, you can open more than one instance of SmartView at a time. So I usually have 3 or 4 different lists going on, so I can kind of toggle throughout them throughout the day. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about some pricing. There's a couple different options now with SmartConnect itself. You've got the one-time fee of $4,500 plus that 17.5% annual enhancement. Or you do have a monthly subscription-based pricing, and that's going to be $267 per month, pay as you go. Really, it's the same tool. It's just you're getting another option in terms of that monthly payment. Or maybe you just have a simple migration or a simple task. Maybe you're just needing to import some data into GP, and you only need it for a couple months. You can certainly do that as well. Or if we did the SmartConnect to SmartView bundle. So if you do a bundle pricing, you're actually going to get quite a bit of a discount. So if you did SmartConnect and SmartView, it's $6,000 plus the 17.5% annual enhancement. So you're saving about $1,000 on that. Or, and there is no, if I go back here, there is no monthly subscription-based pricing for the bundle, but you can certainly purchase them individually. So you could do $267 per month for SmartConnect, and then SmartView, I believe, is $147 per month. Now, what are you going to get with the purchase of SmartConnect? You're going to actually get a full site license. So you're going to get unlimited users within your organization, and that would be both for SmartConnect and SmartView. So when you purchase any of those licenses, you're getting access for everyone within your organization. You're going to get that add-in for Excel. So what I showed you in terms of being able to make changes to those invoices, and pushing that into GP, you're getting that with the purchase of SmartConnect. You're also getting 3 instances of the tool. Now, a lot of people ask, what does that mean? So if you have 3 different environments, such as like a development, test, production, you're going to be able to install that and have access to it in all 3 environments. You're going to get all those connectors. So going back to that illustration that I showed you at the very beginning, you're going to get all of those sources and all of those destinations. And then, of course, any templates. So I showed you that monthly journal template. You're getting that. It comes with SmartConnect. Plus, we've got many other templates for you as well. Training options, we do have quite a few different training options as well. And that's something, we do have our public online sessions. We have some self-paced training that you can kind of work at on your own pace. We have private online training, and that's usually 4 or 8 hours. So let's say if you have an upcoming project that you would like assistance with, we can kind of do your project and your training hand in hand, where we can customize your training. Or if you want to fly us to your facility, if you are somewhere warm, we will come. No, we can do private in-person training as well. And a big one we're seeing now is our boot camp. So our boot camp is actually a road tour that we do. A lot of these boot camps are prior to some of those bigger Microsoft events. And they are like a 1 to 2 day hands-on classroom type setting where you're going to be able to have an instructor there, go through different exercises and have someone there to answer any questions. Also, we do have a 30-day free trial, so both for SmartConnect and SmartView. So if it's something you guys wanted to try, let Carolyn or Sabrina know. They can certainly set you up with that. The 30-day free trial for SmartView, you can just go ahead and install the tool. You don't need any keys. For SmartConnect, we'll kind of have to set some things up here on the back end. So yeah, just let them know, and they would be more than happy to get that information there for you. Otherwise, what I want to do is I just want to kind of open it up for questions. I know I kind of threw a lot of information at you in a short amount of time. So really, you know, we showed you how you can really leverage SmartConnect in terms of the back end on being able to pass data to GP, like whether you want to create invoices or whether you want to go ahead and sync up your GP and CRM, or whether you're just wanting to go ahead and import your journal entries. There's quite a few different tasks that you can do in terms of being able to automate some of those tasks and save quite a bit of time. Also working with SmartView, I showed you some of the differences between SmartView and SmartLists. For those customers that have switched over, I know we actually recently switched over a customer who was literally pulling their hair out because it was just too slow. SmartList was too slow. We implemented SmartView, and literally within seconds, they were able to pull in thousands of transactions, and they no longer had to wait half a day for their list to load. So we were able to definitely make them happy as well. So I would love to hear some stories, maybe some questions that you guys have, or hear some stories. You know, if you have different scenarios that you'd like to talk about, we're welcome to, you know, want to open it up for that. Or if you just have simple, you know, questions on if it can do this or handle this, or if you have any pain points right now, if you have a specific scenario that you would like to discuss, let me know. I'd love to help you out.
Sabrina, has anybody posed any questions on the?
Nope, I haven't gotten any questions there, but if you have any questions, I unmuted everyone, so you can feel free to ask.
Naomi, this is Carolyn. Typically, like, what are some questions that you might get? What have you heard as questions that might kind of trigger some people's thought process here as to what to ask?
Some typical questions we usually get is more so based upon, boy, they're kind of all over the board, but does SmartView, so one that we get with SmartView a lot is, do you need to have, how does the external functionality of SmartView work if you don't need a GP license? Right. And the one thing with that is, what you do is you actually map them to an existing GP license user, and whoever you're mapping them to, those rights they're going to have the same rights as that person. And that's something that's actually really easy to set up. And we do have manuals that are available too with all of our tools, which kind of gives you a step-by-step instructions on how to get that set up. In terms of SmartConnect, those questions are kind of all over the board, but in terms of working with SmartConnect, you know, we can write directly to your SQL tables if you want to do that. I know sometimes people have questions on that. Otherwise, I would say there's my contact information. If it's something, if there's, you know, a specific question you can think of after today, I'd be more than happy to help. Or Carolyn there, or Sabrina at DFC, they're really great resources and one of our great partners. They would be able to assist you as well.
Okay. Any other questions come through, Sabrina?
Nope.
Perfect. Well, I really don't have a whole lot on this. Did you guys have anything additional that you'd like to add?
I'll give you our contact information out there for the customers that are on the call. Any questions, like Naomi said, we would love to take those at any time. So feel free to email us. You know, if you work with Jody Buckles or myself, Carolyn Moldson, it's Jody B at dfcconsultants.com or Carolyn M at dfcconsultants.com, or call us 800-277-5561. We're happy to take your questions, and the answers we don't have, we will definitely get a hold of Naomi for the answers. So thank you for being on the call. Looking forward to some further correspondence, and we'll be touching base with you to see how you felt the demo or the presentation went for you. Thank you so much, Naomi. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, Naomi.
All right.